Have you ever stood on the edge of something new, excited and afraid at the same time, wondering how faith actually moves from promise into reality? Hello, friends, and welcome to week 6 of Scripture for the Journey, the Bible in a Year. Today I'll be reviewing the book of Joshua. Joshua is the book where waiting turns into movement. After years of wandering in the wilderness, God's people finally step into the land that they've long hoped for. But Joshua makes it clear that entering the promise is not the same as instant peace or easy success. The journey continues, just in a new form, and faith now has to be lived out on unfamiliar ground. The book opens with transition. Moses has died, and leadership has passed to Joshua. This moment matters deeply because Joshua is not Moses, and he's not expected to be. God speaks words of reassurance and command. Be strong, be courageous, stay grounded in what you've learned. Joshua reminds us that new seasons often come with fear, but God's presence doesn't change when leadership or circumstances do. And one of the most powerful scenes in Joshua is the crossing of the Jordan River. Just as the people once crossed the Red Sea, they now cross into the land on dry ground. This moment connects the past to the present. God is reminding the people that the same faithfulness that brought them out of slavery is still at work as they move forward. And Joshua teaches us that remembering God's past faithfulness strengthens courage for present challenges. As the people enter the land, they encounter resistance and conflict. Joshua doesn't present the promised land as empty or uncontested. Faithful living often involves struggle. And the story of Jericho illustrates that victory does not come through human strength alone. The walls fall not through force, but through trust, obedience, and patience. Joshua reminds us that faith sometimes looks like walking forward, even when the plan feels unclear. Joshua also includes moments that are uncomfortable for modern readers. Stories of conquest and conflict raise difficult questions. These passages require humility, honesty, and reflection. Joshua doesn't offer simple answers, but it does show us a people learning to live under God's guidance in a complex and broken world. It reminds us that Scripture tells the truth about human history, including its struggles and failures. Throughout the book, God repeatedly calls the people to faithfulness rather than fear. Success is never framed as domination, but as alignment with God's purposes. When the people forget that, consequences follow. Joshua shows us that God's promises are trustworthy, and they are not magic. Faith requires participation, trust, and responsibility. One of the quieter but deeply meaningful parts of Joshua is the division of the land among the tribes. This process emphasizes belonging. Everyone has a place. Everyone has a role. The promised land is not meant for a few, but for the whole community. And Joshua reminds us that God's vision is communal, not individualistic. Blessing is meant to be shared. Joshua also highlights the importance of memory. Stones are set up as reminders of God's faithfulness. Stories are retold. History is remembered. The people are urged not to forget who brought them this far. Joshua understands that faith is sustained not only by hope for the future, but by remembrance of the past. Near the end of the book, Joshua gathers the people and speaks words that echo Moses. He reminds them of God's faithfulness and challenges them to choose how they will live. This is not a command forced upon them. It's an invitation to commitment. Joshua's famous words still resonate today. Choose whom you will serve. Faith is not inherited automatically. It is chosen again and again. Joshua ends not with perfection, but with covenant renewal. The people commit themselves to God, knowing their own limitations and history. The book closes with a sense of grounded hope. The promise has been entered, but faith must still be practiced daily. For us today, Joshua speaks to moments of transition. New jobs, new relationships, new callings, new chapters of life. Joshua reminds us that stepping into something new requires courage rooted in trust. God's presence goes with us, even when the future feels uncertain. Joshua also asks us to consider what faithfulness looks like in everyday life. Where is God calling you to move forward? What fears need to be acknowledged but not obeyed? What memories of God's faithfulness can give you strength right now? Joshua reminds us that promises are not destinations where faith ends. They're places where faith begins again. God remains present, guiding, challenging, and inviting commitment. Friends, next week we'll turn to Judges, a book that reveals what happens when faithfulness wavers and leadership becomes complicated. But for now, Joshua invites us to hold on to this truth. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's choosing faith while moving forward anyway. And friends, if this journey through Scripture is meaningful to you, I invite you to like this video, share it with someone who might appreciate it, and leave a comment letting me know what stood out to you today. Be sure to follow or subscribe so you can walk through all 66 books of the Bible with us, one week at a time. And God bless you, my friends, today and always.